Okay guys, hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about how to read books productively, because there's a lot of people have lots of different opinions about whether reading's a productive thing to do or not. Some people say you just do it for fun, others say it's really key if you want to make progress in your life. I think it's really key. I think you can become successful without books, by all means, but it's much easier to benefit from the knowledge of others, which is what you get from books, right? So, but I think you need to have the right attitude towards consuming books so that you kind of know how the information is going to go in. So I'm just going to go through my sort of methods because I'm quite new to reading sort of serious non-fiction. You know, I've always tried to read some form of fiction, like novels and stuff, not very effectively, but I've really got into the habit of reading now, and specifically reading sort of self-help books and stuff about entrepreneurship and all this kind of stuff that I really want to retain the information. And so this is kind of my attitude towards it. So first thing to remember is a lot of what you're going to read, you're either going to forget, not understand, or not take it in properly. That's absolutely fine, especially if it's the first time you've read the book. The only thing you really need to do to ensure that you're engaging with the book in the right way and you're taking what you need from it is to just turn up and read every day. If you're halfway through some paragraph that you really don't understand, just press on, you know. Obviously some bits you want to make sure you really understand and go over it, but you don't, no matter what, you want to just keep up the habit of reading and keep making progress in the book. And if it means some of it you don't quite get, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Just get to the end of the book. That's all that really matters, I think. Especially if it's a first read. Just turn up every day and read it. So you might get to the end of a book and gain absolutely nothing. You feel like you gain absolutely nothing from it. But the role of books is often not to tell you new things, but just to frame them differently or to explain it to you in a succinct way. For example, I've been reading The 4-Hour Workweek recently, and that book had a whole paragraph about why to get into entrepreneurship, why to try and get sort of financial freedom. And I kind of knew this already. I knew why it was a good idea to do this. It just goes over what to do if your parents say no, you know, what to do if all these other things, you know, and I knew this stuff, but it was just reading what kind of, it's like reading something that you already know, but I didn't quite realise it, you know, I didn't quite grasp it. So, in a sense, I haven't learnt anything from reading that paragraph, but I don't think I quite appreciate how much better I sort of grasped the concept for having actually read it. You know, before that it was just kind of subliminal thing in the back of my head. Meanwhile, now it's like I sort of in the forefront. And this is often the role of books, is it just frames things differently for you. However, if there's a book that you still think you know, you haven't got what you wanted from it, you know, you still think you haven't really learned enough from it, this is why I really recommend rereading books after sort of a break. So often one enjoys a film on the second viewing much more than the first, because at the second viewing you've got the sort of framework to understand the film properly. It's exactly the same with reading, guys. You know, it's funny, the first time I watched The Godfather, I just didn't get any of it. I just thought, what a long-winded film. You know, I really wasn't very impressed by it. But then you go back and you watch it again, and the second time I watched it, I was like, oh my god, this is an absolute masterpiece. And like nothing had really changed there except I sort of knew the basic framework for watching it. So what I'm getting at is don't dismiss the importance of just reading through a book. Like it's a really key thing to, even if you feel like you don't understand it, come back to it in 3 months' time and read it again and see how much you've learned this time. I think that's really key. Now, another question is like, do you take notes from the book? And I don't linger too much on taking notes and stuff like that because, again, I think the importance is just getting a basic framework of the book, taking what I immediately can from it, and then coming back to it if I think it's a good book later on. I think it's better. There's like, especially because there are so many books to get through. I do think it's sometimes like you get so caught up in taking notes that you just end up not really reading. And I think what you want to do is just be in that kind of focused state where you're really just taking in the information. I know Hamza says makes notes, so again, obviously I'm only saying what's worked for me. If you find that it's worked for you to take notes, then absolutely do that. Absolutely do that. I do underline stuff though. If it's a book that I really want to learn like information from, I frequently underline stuff, and even if I just kind of like the sound of it, or it sort of puts a concept that I've been thinking about really succinctly. So I do that. And yeah, that is my basic sort of attitude towards books, like reading books, taking on information. The other thing that I would say that's really important as well is make sure to like don't be afraid to have a few books kind of that you're reading at the same time. I think it's very easy to just think, I have to read a book cover to cover. But I think it's not a bad thing to have a few on the go at the same time. This is one thing in self-improvement where you can have a few things on the go at the same time. So I'm reading like 3 books at the moment, 2 on sort of entrepreneurship, 1 on pickup artistry, and there are more that I've ordered that are going to come, and I'll probably just add them to a sort of general rotation on what I'm interested in. I think it can get to a point where you're reading too many books at the same time. You want to, I don't think I've quite established what's the sort of perfect amount to be reading at the same time. But I think if you want to have, 5 or 6 books on the go at the same time, that's absolutely fine. As long as you think you're genuinely learning from each one. I think that's really good, and that keeps the variety up and makes it a pleasurable experience. I mean, that's the other thing that you want to have with reading is you want to make it pleasurable. Just do anything you can to make it pleasurable, really. And best way to do that is just to have variety. So anyway, guys, I hope this has helped you. I think reading books is it's good to watch YouTube videos on self-improvement, but a lot of sort of hard lifting can be done by just reading a few books. I mean, I think a good book can really just change your life. So definitely pursue knowledge through this medium. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.